Okay, I have a couple of chords here. Now we're talking about some chords that I may not have spent a lot of time on. We're going to do those in some other lessons, but they're called minor seventh chords. Okay, minor seventh chords are simply a more extended version of a triad, meaning that instead of just 3 notes, root, third, fifth, there's actually a seventh harmonized in there, right? So when you play a minor seventh voicing, you're just playing a more complex minor chord. So one of the minor seventh chords I like to use is right over here. Very simple, just root, flat 7, minor third, and fifth. Okay? And that goes really nicely to the major seventh, which is also a more complicated or complex major sound. It's just a major sound with the seventh added in there. Okay, so nice playable, usable voicing is right there. And I know I might have played that before somewhere, but I wanted to just show you. So minor seventh going to major seventh. And that's what happens right here. And that establishes pretty strongly the key of B flat. Okay? So that'll give you an opportunity to play your major scale, any patterns that you want to work on in B flat. Okay? Now the next part of the progression moves to the key of G, and it does that by way of the 2 chord to the 3 chord in the key of G. Okay, so you can just use that same minor 7 voicing, just put it on A and move it up to B. And that, with just 2 chords, establishes the sound of G major really strongly. Okay, so listen to the progression now, and I'm going to have you guys do a few things for me. Okay, here's the progression. Chords up there. Here comes A minor. Oh. I do it again. Back to G, or back to B flat. Okay, I realize I made one little snafu here. The chords changed twice as fast, so let me make that correction. It's still the key of G. It's just that I had to correct that. Okay, so what does that mean for you? We've talked about our 5 major scale patterns today. Let's just take 2 of them and put them back to back, or put them right on top of each other. So you'll see over here on the board, I've got B flat major written out in a very friendly pattern 4 shape. Okay, and then I've got G major written essentially in the same position, but G major would involve, in this position would involve right here, pattern 5. Okay, so without really having to move it at all, I can establish pretty strongly any melody I want in this position by navigating between B flat and G major right there. Okay, so in your head you might want to see the triad shapes, G major to represent B flat major scale, right? And then you could see this chord to visualize the G major scale that you'd use here. Okay, so let's just try that for a second. Let's just play. Let's see. Let's just stick to 8th notes and keep it steady. And then let's just keep it steady, and then when we come to the key of G, I just want you to move right into the key of G without stopping. Okay, this is just going to be an exercise now. 2, 3, 4. For G, visualize the G chord. that works out? Okay, you see how that works? You'll notice that I played one chromatic note to set up the root of the scale, just so it would be on the downbeat, but you know, I just did that kind of instinctually. Okay, now, I'm not saying that that's the most musical thing in the world or that's what you're going to want to sound like when you play your own music, but it's an exercise. And it's good to force yourself to do exercises like that sometimes because it really tells you how well you know a pattern or how well you know a scale. And you can do that in any position. You could say, well, I'm doing that really well. Well, let's just challenge yourself in another way. Let's say if you went, let's say if you went starting from the top of the scale, and then reversed everything. Everything would be in a different. You'd always be starting at the top, right? So let's see if that would put a different challenge on it. 3, 4. I feel about the same. But maybe, going to G might be difficult. There's G major. Again, back to B flat. Okay. If you wanted to make it even more challenging, you could play double time against that, or maybe slow it down and double time it, Now that would double the amount of notes you're going to play. Okay. You could also play sequences, right? You could play. Triplet sequence. Whatever you want to do. Group of 4. So you can apply all the previous sequences that we worked on and some of the finger exercises we worked on to make this more challenging and to get more out of it, okay? Now, there's certainly time left to make some music with it, okay? And that's really what you want to do every time you play. You want to have some time, even though you're doing a bunch of exercises, where you try to make music out of it, okay? So let's just try to do that. And before we go on anywhere else, I just want to remind you, of course, I've just chosen this position randomly. It's totally arbitrary. I just chose it because I feel like for most people, you probably have been working on this position. Maybe you haven't spent as much time on pattern 5. But that doesn't mean another day you might pick up your guitar and go, okay, let's go review what we've done in 33. And I'm going to play pattern 1, B flat major. And that would make my next pattern, if I'm going to stay in this position, become G major. Okay, so it's going to be this pattern. So any position or all positions should be explored when you do these exercises. Okay, because you got to challenge yourself and learn all 5 shapes really well. Okay, moving along. Let's just try to make a little music with it now, okay? Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Simple melodies, right? I'm going to try to find a new note. I hung on that note because it worked. So when you start really getting comfortable and playing more patterns together, you know, your hands will go a lot more with what your ear tells you to play. I'm playing in one position right now because I'm trying to show you how you can still make music even in one position like that. But as you get all these patterns together and you've really practiced them, you're going to find a lot more freedom in being able to express yourself when you move around the patterns. Okay, so I'm going to let you practice on the way out, and I'll see you next lesson. Okay, here we go. Your turn. 2, 3, 4. Okay, stay in one position. Okay, here comes key of G. Play with you. Here we go. Your turn. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to take off in G. Here we go. Your turn. All right, I'll see you next lesson. Practice hard. Have a good time and make it fun. And I'll see you around. Talk to you later.